All right, and we are live. Hello and welcome to the Lyon Show. I'm your host, your favorite business coach, Robert Lyon. Today, we have the honor of speaking with Cornelius Maxwell. He is a U.S. Army veteran, an author. He's up for an awesome award. It's called the Academy Award. We're going to get into that. And he's just like a serial entrepreneur, amazing guy. And I'm just so happy to have him on. So, Cornelius, why don't you tell everybody kind of who you are and what you're all about, what you're up to?
All right. Well, first, I want to say, Robert, thank you for having me on your show. I'd like to say thank you to your audience for taking the time to listen and watching and paying attention to what we have to say. It's an investment. So I truly appreciate the investment that they're taking into hearing what I have to say. A little bit about myself. So my name is Cornelius J. Maxwell. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I served 3 tours in Iraq during my time in the military. I do some philanthropy work. I do some nonprofit work. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an author. My new book, Unapologetically, I'm a Man, as well as, like I said, I'm up for the award for my transition units theory, which is designed to help or save the lives of 2 million veterans over the course of 10 years. And that's from PTSD to homelessness to unemployment. So I'm a man who wears a lot of hats.
Yeah, man, you're fighting the good fight for sure, and I appreciate that. Well, it being like the day after MLK Day, why don't you tell everybody kind of what the book and how it got inspired and how it got started and came to be?
Great. Well, I Am a Man is a poetry book. It was inspired by MLK's last protest, I Am a Man. That's where the title, Unapologetically, I'm a Man, came from. And, he inspired me about, with his last protest. And I decided to write a poem titled that. And one thing led to another. And I ended up publishing the book. And now I released it on Juneteenth of 2020. And I say since then, it has been ranked on Amazon's top 107 categories. There's been an online book club in, I believe in Europe. They gave it a perfect 4 out of 4 stars and even nominated for Book of the Year. And so that's a little success on the book. And like I said, I just spoke from the heart and just how I feel about things. So
yeah, man, I love that. Were you writing some of the poems and when you were in the Army and stuff?
Well, my idea was I always wanted to be an author even before I went in the military. But then I really didn't. I really started this book about 5 years ago. So that's when I was already out the military. Around the time period I graduated, I got my bachelor's in political science. So around that time period, I got my bachelor's in 2015. So it was around that time period when I really started the book, on and off.
Yeah,
So.
I was just in the Army, and I just remember being pissed writing poems because I had nothing else to do. I was just like, man, gotta do something.
Yeah,
yeah, man, that's so cool, man. I really think it's just good to have some success from writing a book that's just kind of came from inspiration. I feel that. I understand that. So, why don't you tell us just a little bit of like a little like Army story? Like, what was your MOS and kind of what did it make you into and become?
All right. Well, I served as a Commo NCO, Commo Sergeant, Communication Sergeant.
Nice.
Make sure I use my lingo. Is not completely Army all the way through.
Yeah.
And and so let's see what helped me out in the civilian world because it taught me about IT. So it helped me with the IT world, understand some things about IT, network security, things like that. And so that's very valuable, especially in the civilian world with the IT structure. You want to. And the reason I chose that route is because I wanted to, find an MOS that I can use or find some sort of job skill that I can use in the military that I can also use when I got out. So I was thinking about that ahead of time. And so it's done well because the fact that I served the military opened doors. The fact, people say, hey, this guy served the military. Oh, yeah, tell me about yourself. And then, you have your nice saying elevator pitch. So it's done well as far as opening doors for me and introduced, I have met a lot of people. So it prevented the opportunity. Well, I would say prevent, but it created the opportunity for people to speak because people always think that's, an intriguing thing, the fact that you served the military. So people are intrigued to learn about you. And so that's open opportunities for me. So I think that's it's been a great avenue, the fact that I did serve the military and the relationships I built in the military have been lifelong relationships. I've met, some people that I served with and, we friends to this day, and I've been out now for about 10 years almost. So,
yeah, man. Well, everybody listening, if you're thinking about going into the military, listen to this man because he said he went in with the idea of getting a job after the military. I was a forward observer, man, so I learned how to blow stuff up, man. I can't do nothing with that in the civilian world. So gotta pick your battles and be smart when you're going in there. So I want to learn a little bit more about this award that you're nominated for, man. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
All right, so it's called the VETIS. It's by the Academy of the United States Veterans, and like I said, it's the transition units theory. I first introduced the transitionist theory at the Oklahoma State Capitol. As a matter of fact, this is one of my entrepreneur ventures. Matter of fact, one of my first ones. And so my mother, she's an artist. And so she does oil paintings, acrylic paintings, charcoal, the whole nine. And so, and getting her name out there, it was just, I was an undergrad at the time. And matter of fact, no, I just finished undergrad. And so she's like, yeah, I want to. And so we decided to do an art exhibit. And we and it was called the On Our Heroes series to honor veterans. And so we managed to reserve the Oklahoma State Capitol, the Rotunda area, which is between where the House representatives meet for the state and the Senate. And so we were there. We were able to get the media to come. We even held a press conference there at the Capitol. And during that exhibit, we had a list of names of a couple hundred people we dedicated the artwork to. Our goal is 100,000, so we're still trying to get more names. And doing so, we also held an award ceremony to honor some vets who served in the military out of state of Oklahoma. And this is during their 100-year anniversary as a state in the United States. And so I introduced it there during a speech. And one of my buddies who I served in Iraq with recorded it, put it on Facebook. And so from there, things just took off. So once it took off, it put on Facebook. Facebook got about 50,000 views on it today. And it led to me meeting a congressman. And, he was just like, I like your idea. Will you be willing to present in front of Congress, the state Congress? I said, yeah, sure. And so I get a call 3 weeks later and they're saying, hey, we got your slide to speak next week. Can you do it? I said, yeah, I can. So I worked, I gave them all my, my PowerPoint presentation and everything. And they were like, man, we love that idea. We love it. So, and I ended up speaking in front of the Arizona House Military and Veterans Affairs Committee during their congressional session, during the state congressional session. And so they enjoyed it. And they're like, well, write it as a bill. So I said, okay, sure. So, I wrote it. So, and right now, I wrote it as a bill, but I want to really push it because it's a federal issue. So I want to really push it at the federal level. And I think this is going to be a great idea and a great hand, this award being the finalist, because it's in the leadership category. And so I think this would be great as far as getting awareness out there, letting people know, because this is a proactive approach to helping veterans with the PTSD, homelessness, unemployment. And we want to help them while they're still in the military, not when they get out. But we also want to help them when they get out as well. So we're helping them prior to getting out, and we're helping them even after they get out. And that's the whole concept behind it.
Yeah, my heart goes out to all the vets. I know when I got out of the military, I was a wreck, man. I was just a pile of garbage for a while. And then I kind of figured it out, had to get back and adapt to civilian life. So anything that anyone can do to help just that transition, it's just no one really understands it unless you've been in the military and then you get out. This is like a different kind of world, So what is the bill? Like, what is it? How does it help the vets necessarily? And then how can other people maybe help it if it's possible?
Well, like I said, my goal, I want to focus, and I want to really start off focusing on the combat vets first, and having those combat vets more or less prepare more for the civilian way of life on a daily routine. Getting used to speaking with the civilian language terms, because that's a problem that I had real bad. Was speaking that military lingo, and stuff like that, especially on the enlisted side. I want to be able to prove, practice interviewing skills. I know they have some things that help with interviewing skills, but we already know when you're still attached to the unit, the unit comes first, on your way out the door. So it makes it harder, to transition when you're pulling CQ duty shifts, because that was the issue that I had when I was in the military was, on my way out the door is CQ. I was like, well, I need to be ready to get out. Well, you got CQ again.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, man, so, I was like, well, I need to put out my resume or interview for jobs. No, you got CQ. And I was like, and so I want to give these guys a better opportunity, instead of having to pull that 24-hour CQ shift duty and, stuff like that. So I'm aiming towards, getting these guys in school. When I got out the military, I had a plan. So I got out around May timeframe, but I went straight. I already did my school registration. I registered for school. I did my school registration and all that. So by the time I really got out of school, got the military, I already had all my classes. I knew what I was getting. I had my financial aid taken care of. One thing I had to do was just put in my VA benefits because I was still in service. So the VA benefits don't count till you get out of service. But the thing is you can put it in the very next day you get out, and to speed up the process. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that I did. And which made it go by faster. And it was just, I was fortunate enough to where when I got out, I was able to get my school benefits within the first 90 days of me being out when I needed it.
Yeah.
So, I want to make sure other people have that same opportunity. They're prepared for that, and they're prepared for the conversation, especially since when I got out, I'm a 30-year-old man and I'm in class with an 18, 19-year-old and I'm trying to communicate. and these guys are fresh out of high school and I'm served 3 tours in combat. So, the whole, and it was, so it was cool making that transition, because a lot of those guys thought I was cool. Like, man, this dude been in Iraq, he's cool. And so I kind of played that. I used that to form study groups. And, so it helped out. I was able to use that experience to help out that way. So, as far as that, but that's the overall objective of the transitionist theory is be able to help these guys, especially with the PTSD. That's a big factor because, you can claim, we understand where in the military, if you have PTSD, mental health issues, you'll get a flag. For those in the civilian world understand what a flag means, it's pretty much a mark or a penalty. Yeah. And it can prevent you from getting promoted. It can prevent you from getting things that are beneficial in your favor. Mm-hmm. And so what I want to do is make it to where those things are no longer effective, as far as a flag. If you're saying you have PTSD issues or mental health issues, and especially if you're on your way out the door. Now, if you're still in service and you say, I have mental health issues and your unit's getting ready to go to a combat zone where you need a weapon, of course, that makes sense. But if you're not going to a combat zone, then there's no sense for that. It doesn't add up to me. So if we can prepare these guys to go into the civilian world and how to handle and find that trigger and the stress points while they're still in service instead when they get out of service without the penalties, it's more beneficial instead of waiting till the last minute or waiting till you're out the service to realize I have these trigger points and look for these trigger points. If you're already proactive about that, you can catch it prior. And so that's my goal is to do that and to do it, like I said, proactively instead of reactively.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I got out of the military, it was like traumatic. I had like a family and I was broke and I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I think if anybody out there, needs help and there's some way to support them, any military family getting back into like, it's just a very important cause. So I feel that. That's awesome, man. So I understand that you're also doing like consulting now. What does that look like? And how'd you kind of step into that role?
It's cool. I like it. We do different things, different projects. And that's pretty much how you explain it. It's more or less you're being creative,
Yeah.
Consulting. Consulting is awesome as far as being creative. Nothing, every day is never the same. and so since every day is a different day, you kind of waking up with that, oh man, what am I do today? What am I do today? Type deal. Yeah. So it's quite exciting because you never know. You just can't say today, well, today, oh man, I got to do this today. And those same boring, tedious tasks and a lot of jobs have.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's not. So you just don't know, and you have to adjust to the day. So it's quite awesome.
I'm all about like kind of just freedom and then like living on your own terms. Like, you have any advice on how people can kind of create a life like where they kind of do what they want and they kind of make things happen? What's your take on things like that?
Okay, well, it depends on each individual, right? Mm-hmm. So each individual can determine what is happiness for them. Like me personally, a prayer life helps for me. It helps clear my head, it helps me relax, stabilize, get my thoughts together. And then from there, I'm able to adjust, right? So for me, prayer life, God, or religion, whoever, depending on your definition, as well as I would say family is another one. So your relationships with family members, friends, and things that you value most, right? So, people always say you want to do something. If you do something that you love, you'll never work again, which is true because, let's say, for instance, a person is a video gamer, they love video games. And they go on social media and they play video games all day long. Video games. But then they get all these followers and people are paying to see them play the video games. But they were doing that anyways, right? They were doing it for free. They're doing it for hours on the day. So if you learn to monetize, well, this is one thing, right? This is why I like to teach. There's 4 systems or 4 things that successful people do that people who are poor or broke never do. And so the system that the first thing they do is identify a problem, right? So you see a problem, say, this is a problem. Then the second step they do is think of a solution. Say, hey, it's a solution for this particular problem. Now, the third thing they do is they create a system for the solution to the problem. Then the fourth thing they do is learn how to monetize the system for the solution to the problem. And one thing I like to teach, because I also do public speaking.
No, nice. You're muted, man. There we
Hello?
go. Yeah, we're back. So you're about to go
All
into
right.
like what kind of public speaking and like kind of what you're telling people with the 4
Okay,
tactics.
perfect. So with the public speaking, I like to tell people those things, right? Because it makes a difference. If you have a passion about something, why not learn how to monetize that passion and use it in the process? And so in doing so, you can fulfill a life with purpose and with one that you can enjoy. But that's all based upon what do you find as an individual valuable and what is most valuable to you and how to create a system around those things that are valuable.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. After the military, like I just wasn't ready to get a job at like some crappy place where someone's telling me what to do all the time anymore, you know? So I had to figure out for myself, man. I definitely took the entrepreneurial road, like dead serious. Like I'm not working for nobody again. I'm going to make my own way. And I've figured it out, but some people want that, but they just can't quite seem to break on out, you know? So
Correct.
since the military, like you've had quite a bit of success. You did some real estate, some books. Like what's really inspiring you these days to like keep going?
It's the fact that I see some changes, or things that need some changes, right? According to my understanding, my beliefs, you know. Like I said, you know, I got inspired by the book, you know, Unapologetically I'm a Man. I got inspired to write because they were talking about racism, you know, and so I decided to talk about it, right? I think some things need to change about that. You know, as far as, you know, what can be done. And so, and one of the things I'm talking about in here is, you know, particularly our birthrights. And I talk about how, you know, the Black community, when you look at it, when you take away a person's name, their identity, things of that nature, they lack a birthright. And so, and I tend to use that with my thinking with the Bible as far as the concept of birthrights and how America uses the Bible as its moral and ethical doctrine. And so it talks about atonement and how we need to atone. And I believe the best way to do that is the birthright aspect. As far as, you know, for the Black community, I share my thoughts. And I believe that, you know, we need to have political influence in the Black community. Because that's one thing that, you know, the Black community never had is political influence, you know, a fair representation in politics, as well as economic stability. And you take those entrepreneurs and we invest in entrepreneurs and they create jobs and grow the neighborhoods from there. And then from there, of course, which will lead to the third phase, which is the I just went blank for some reason. I don't know why I went blank because I say this all the time. Education, healthcare, right? So education, healthcare, because those are paid by tax dollars. And since you have more taxpayers in those communities, then you create more you know, the quality of you control the quality of the education as well as the healthcare. Then the fourth phase is the home ownership and land ownership, because you have people who can buy homes and lands from different countries and don't have to be American. So I figure once we establish that economic stability, then of course you qualify for home and land ownership, which determines the birthright, which is built upon those things. Because, you know, birthrights are political, they're spiritual, they're economical, and of course they're your identity. So now, you know, we can end this whole issue of racism by attaching a birthright to a group of people who don't have one. I thought that was a very powerful message. And I used the Bible as a source because I believe that, you know, when you read the Bible from beginning to end, it is pretty much a description of God's birthright to man, which is forgiveness. And forgiveness is broken down into several categories, as in when you've been wronged, you have to learn to forgive. And then when you've been the one you're the one that's wrong, then you got to create systems that heal the victim. But we also have to create they also establish redemption for the perpetrator as well. So, and that's why I share there. And I thought it was very important. It's passion. And of course, it's a passion of mine, you know. And so that's one thing I believe in. I really believe in. So like I said, I seen that was a problem there. I said, here's my solution. I create a system with the book and, you know, and monetizing the book as well on that solution. So that way the message can get out. Yeah. And so, you know, that motivates me. It inspires me. And I want to see America do better. I want to see America grow. Like I said, I've served America in combat. So of course I want the best for America. And so
100%. Could you go a little bit deeper and just telling me your definition of the birthright and I just want to hear a little bit more about that. Like, what do you think? Right. What does that mean exactly?
Well, like I said, the birthrights, you know, birthrights, everyone is born with the birthright, whether it comes from your country, where you come from, whether it's your name, you know, the
Kind of like
last
your
name.
identity, sort of.
Correct.
All right.
So
I
it's your
get it.
identity, because now you're named. Then of course, you know, the one thing, you know, and usually when you talk about the birthright, it's talking about coming from the father, right? Because you carry your father's name and your travels down, right? Because as men, you know, we keep the last name. We don't, our name doesn't change, you know, like in the marriage, stuff like that. So we pass the birthright as men. And so in doing so, when you talk about the birthright, what are we passing along? We're passing along the identity. We're passing along our economic wealth or stability, you know, inheritance, as well as we're passing along spiritual, because we're the ones who teach the children, you know, religion. If you know, believe in a certain religion, or if you don't, you know, you still teach that. And so that's part of your birthrights, and as well as politics, political. You know, kings became kings, you know, because it was passed along as a birthright, and so did sinners became sinners in certain instances because it was passed along as a birthright. And so these are things, you know, all men should inherit certain, you know, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and so that's even in our, you know, our founding, you know, documentation, you know, in the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, and see, all this stuff is in there, and it goes back to terms like that is birthright. So every American should inherit, then it is an American birthright. So when you have certain people that say someone is black, and people say, hey, go to Africa, well, you say they don't have a birthright here in America. You know what I mean? That's why you tell them to go back somewhere else where the birthright is here, because for generations we lived here and we worked here and built families here. So there's a birthright there. And so, and the thing is, that's not being acknowledged. And I feel like that's important for people to understand that, because we all as Americans have a birthright here in America, one way or the other. So if we all establish that, then we're all equal. All men are equal because all men have a birthright.
Yeah, well, put it on the record. People saying go back to Africa. Fuck those people. I think everybody deserves a chance, man. Like, life's hard as it is, and some people get really dealt a terrible deck of cards, and they need as much support and as much help to get out as they possibly can. And I just think everybody, you know, just needs to be able to know that if they put their mind to something, that they can achieve more than they have right now. You know, everybody kind of. A lot of places you see people and you talk to people and they have a small mind and they can't quite understand that their life could be better, that they could do more with their lives. And it's just sad to see. And I think the message that for everybody, just, you know, needs to be that you can do more, you can be more. You're an important part of this whole equation, and you need to, you know, fight the good fight, man. So I love what you're saying. I really appreciate everybody who's trying to spread that message. And I think it's an incredible thing that you're doing. So what are you going to keep doing? Public speaking? You're going to keep talking about this and keep spreading the message, or what are you trying to achieve? Everything.
I want to achieve change.
Yeah.
You know, for generations to come. You know, I just don't want to say, hell yeah, you're right. You know, yeah, you're right. You know, but then nothing happens. You know, I don't want that. You know, I want something to happen. You know, and I want everyone, and I want it to benefit, right? And so, and as you can tell, I'm a real passionate guy when it comes about, you know, certain things that I work on. When I commit to something, I'm passionate about it when I commit.
Oh, passion's good.
And so, yeah, and so, and that's the thing, right? Because like I say, we all have our, you know, our obstacles we have to overcome in life.
Yeah.
Right. So, so the thing is we don't have to place extra obstacles to ensure that someone else fails. Because in the end, people trip themselves up regardless, right? No matter who you are, your background, we all make mistakes. We all fall, you know, we're all human. And so to do such a thing, it's like I said, it's unjust. And, you know, in America being a country with the reputation that it has, you know, like I said, and with freedom, we talk about freedom, you know, we both serve in the military. We know freedom isn't free. You know, someone has to fight for it, but then there's a certain way, you know, you fight, and we want to be able to fight this fight that says, look, we all need to be treated fairly. We all need to have the same representation, and it's just only the right thing to do. And so, you know, it's been a problem for hundreds of years, and what's been taught can be untaught, and what's been trained can be untrained, and what's been created into a system can be, you know, can be taken out of certain systems and stuff like that. So I think that it's very important, and I think that and that's what I think America thinks is very important, because look what's been going on in 2020. You know, look how 2020 just erupted. You know,
yeah.
And so the fact that, you know, a lot of people saying we need change, but then in the end, I'm not seeing a lot of solutions. You know what I mean? That's why I said I'm throwing my solution and see how people take to it, and people don't like it. You know, I appreciate it. If they don't, it's like, okay, I can respect that as well. You know. And so I just throw out my solution and see if we can create change from it.
Yeah.
And so that's inspiring to me to see if we can make that change and make change for our children, our children's children, their children's children's children.
Yeah. Well, I can just hope, man, and support you going out there and fighting the good fight, spreading the message,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything's a little fucked, but I hope that people see that, everybody wants to change, and then they can do, there's things that people can do. They can go and support people like you. They can support people that are trying to do the good fight and keep it going, spread the message, and like keep the conversation alive. And then hopefully it'll be taken to a next level where we'll get, establishments in place, or people will take action or be able to help each other out or something. I don't know. It's a big problem that requires, real plans and real thoughts and real people to come together and make something happen. So I think
Correct.
Awesome. Yeah, man.
So, and I agree with that. I completely agree with that. And it takes all of us, to step in and say something and act on it, right? And so, like I said, and like I said, my solution is what I'm proposing is, like I said, by using the birthright aspect, I believe that it puts us all as one, and it breaks, eliminates that whole, well, you're this and you're that. Well, no, that's not the case. That's what I'm eliminating. And, like Dr. King said, judge a man by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. And so I believe that this is the way of doing so, because no matter what color your skin is, every man has a birthright. No matter what country you come from, that's your birthright is to that particular territory. And so it's the same here, and so if we can do that and eliminate that way of thinking, I think that America could be can be even greater and have more value than it already has, because America is a great country regardless, and the opportunities are still there to succeed, but we want to ensure that it's, America's America, the land of greater opportunities. So, and that's the thing. I wanted to make sure that we live up to that standard. And that's my challenge, is to make sure that we live up to that standard, that the Bible teaches, as far as, if you do wrong, atone for that wrong. Is no different than, apologizing, creating a system that says, you know what, I did wrong by you. I'm sorry. Let's do this to make it right. In a nutshell.
100%, man. So, I guess I got to buy the book, man, and read it. But when you say unapologetically a man, what does that really mean to you, and how'd that get the title of the book?
Okay, and like I said, I was just researching MLK's last protest, and I wrote a poem, and I can quote the poem for you real quick. It's not a long poem, all right, and it really breaks down just the concept of I am a man, in general. That's what he was trying to say, and so like that. So here it goes: unapologetically, I'm a man. I am made of bone, tissue, flesh, and blood, thus classified biologically to the mammal kingdom. Yet my stature is upright, and my posture is strong. It keeps me grounded through treacherous adversity. My voice is deep. When I speak, it roars with authority. Classification by pigmentation has labeled me a minority, restricted from health and prosperity, to quench the sinister desires of the majority. But let this declaration be understood with clarity, that I was created in the image of the Most High, uniquely with originality. So I can never be stereotyped due to the authenticity of my individual personality, because I'm proud to be the man God made me to be, unapologetically. And so
I got chills, man. Took me on a roller coaster. Was that yours, or was that MLK? That was yours?
No, that's mine. That's my poem. That's I titled the book after.
Well, no wonder it's #1 on Amazon, man. That's killing it.
Appreciate it. I just broke down the human factor and the human barrier. We're all human, and we all have our own individual personalities. We all are different people, and that's pretty much the poem is saying, and saying that in a nutshell, is that we're all our own individual. We're all authentic in our own way, and we're all original in our own way. Like there'll never be another Robert, there'll never be another Cornelius. There's only one. For sure. Your DNA pattern would never be replicated again. Right? Mine will never be replicated, exact, replication, from my height to my weight, blood type. It will never be replicated again. So we're all authentic in that manner. And so if we respect that, I think it'll really open up, our understanding. We all can understand and respect the fact that we're all authentic in one way or the other.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man. I'm inspired now. I'm trying to remember this Les Brown quote, but he's like, I am the one, the only, I don't know. But it's so true. We're all our own unique identity, our own unique person. And all we can do is just do the absolute best with what we got, you know, and
Mhm.
hopefully we all shine and we all like can really come into our own and then, you know, be powerful and maybe lead people to do the more right choices too. Oh man, well that was inspiring, man. I really like that. So I want to encourage everybody to go out there and buy the book. Where else can everybody listening get in contact with you?
They can get in contact with me, of course, on social media. I am on Facebook. You know, you can have a personal speaking page, Mr. Cornelius J. Maxwell. You can find me in the searches on Twitter, on Instagram, and of course, I have my personal website, mr-maxwell.com. I have there as well. And like I said, I really, my life's mission, what really drives me is the fact that I believe that we can create change. I really believe in people. I really believe in people. So I believe in God, and I believe God can change the hearts and affect the minds of people. And I believe that in doing so, because he can do that for me. I believe that. So since I believe that, I share that message, and that's a very important message for me. So in doing so, and like I said, man, that's just Cornelius Maxwell. You can reach me. You'll find that message. I teach that message in my public speaking as well, as far as from leadership conferences, where I teach the difference between leaders and managers. You know, how a manager is someone, you know, we've had those managers who in charge of you where they really didn't know how to lead people. They just knew how to do a job really well.
Yeah.
So, you know, and a lot of times managers, they're like chickens with their heads cut off. They just have no real direction. They going here and there, and leaders, you know, have direction and vision. And so, you know, I teach about that as well. So
let's get into that a little bit. Actually, I'm curious. So, how do you see the best way for, like, in the modern days, how to lead a team to achieve a goal? What's your opinion?
It depends on the team. You want to first, when you achieve the goal, you want to see who is your team, and because each individual in your team has a value and they have their strengths and weaknesses, right? And so, and that's one thing we learned in the military was look and see what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses on your team. That's what a team leader does, right? And so I believe that's the first thing, because then you can adjust accordingly to your goals, or according to who can accomplish what and who can do certain things better than others based upon their strengths. So working a team is then taking all those efforts and then uniting those efforts to create a success. Because I like to define success as when one develops the consistency to remain persistent, is what I define success as. And when you think about that, what is consistency? Is when one develops a system, right? To be consistent, you have to develop a system, right? That's efficient. And in developing the system that's efficient, then of course you want to do, what is persistency? Persistency is to be focused. So when you develop a system that's successful enough to keep you focused, is when you develop success. It's not when the awards come. It's not when people are like, yeah, this guy's awesome. It's those days when you first started and no one believed in your product, you know, what you were doing. You only want to have faith in something that you were working on, you know. And when you get up every day, every morning, just like you know, we prepare for combat in the military, and they say, hey, it all starts with PT first thing in the morning. Are you in shape? How many push-ups can you do? How many sit-ups can you do? How fast can you run the 2 miles, right?
Yeah.
and then you look at it, all right, so then you start your day, and it's like, okay, what is your job proficiency? What is your skill level? Then if you're like an artillery unit or in an infantry unit, right? Like, and you're a combo guy like myself, well, I want to learn artillery guys stuff, right? Because you know, for the unit to be the best, the combo guy needs to know what the artillery guy is doing.
Yeah.
Right. And vice versa. So then I'm teaching them their job, my job, and they're teaching me their job. And then we learn and we intertwine those skills. And so, you know, it's a matter of building those relationships, because when you have a team, it's all about building those relationships and knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses, and then growing from there. So.
Oh man, something you said blew my mind. So it's how to get to success is like, or basically for focus, what you said was something about having a system that is in place, and then you just do the system, and then you just consistency with the system essentially. And
Correct.
I love that. That's so powerful. That's much more than, you know, if you got to show up every day, and then you just put one foot in the other, take some power steps, and that's how you can really become a good leader and a good plan. Because I talk to a lot of business owners, and they're just making it up as they go. They find one thing that works, and then they stop doing it for some reason. It's just kind of interesting.
I seen a video by Steve Harvey. He said how to become a millionaire. He said, do one thing great. He said, do what you did that worked one time. And once it worked one time, then do it 10 times.
Yeah.
He said, then do it 10 more times. They said they do it 10 more times.
Well,
So he
awesome,
replicated, doing the same thing over and over again, right?
Uh-huh.
But then I look at it too, we're talking business, right? And let's talk business strategy, right? Let's look at Nike, for example, right? And how the founder of Nike, how he started. He had one pair of shoes, right? He graduated from University of Oregon. I can't remember his name right now, but he graduated from University of Oregon. He had one pair of shoes, and he said, "No, I want my shoes to stand out in track." So he met one person, gave him away one pair of shoes to that guy who ran track. And said, "Oh man, these shoes are great. My times are better." So then he told somebody else, and people started buying them out the trunk of his car.
Yeah.
And then now you see Nike. Everybody know what Nike is. Everybody know what Nike is. But just think that story started off with just one guy in the back of his trunk selling one pair of shoes.
Yeah.
And it grew into $1 billion business, right? And that's the thing is, when we look at entrepreneurship and growing businesses, we just can't. We look at it as a passion, something that you do, but a lot of people fail to realize is how do you scale, right? Because scaling is very important. Do you have a plan to scale? If you don't have a plan to scale, let's say, then when you become successful, you have no route to go. But now, a lot of businesses, have problems, which are good problems, is you don't know how to fulfill orders, right? So it's better to say I have orders, right, and I don't have the manpower to fill those orders than to have no orders, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but being able to have the ability to scale, have a vision, which is pretty much a vision, right? Because if you have a vision saying I'm going to the moon. Right. But then, and then you say, you know what? I made it to the moon. How do I get back?
You gotta flip it.
Right. So then you got the other vision. Say, how do we land this thing now? Right. We got it. Then how do we bring it back? So you want to be able to think things through. Right. You want, and that's why I said it's a system. A business is a system. Because in the end of the day, is you familiar with? I think his name is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
He talks about the income quadrant, and he discussed the fact that you have your 4 income quadrants. You have your employee, your self-employed. Well, in that case, he said, he talked about his dad, and that's how his biological dad, I believe, believed in that's how you should earn money, is either you work for someone or you work for yourself.
Right.
But then when you self-employed and you don't have employees, what are you doing? You're working for the business. You're constantly working for your money. And the thing is, you want to be on the other side of the income quadrant, which is the B and the I side, which is the business and the investment, where your business can function without you. So you want to be able to scale your business to where where your business can run even in your absence, right? And because then what's happening is your business is investing in itself. It's an investment.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it's able to function without you, you can venture off and do great help. You can still monitor that, right? Through certain reports and stuff like that. So you still can monitor that. But then you can start another venture that helps people as well, because now you can say, let me start another business, or let me start another idea. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's where the B and the I side is so valuable, because you can still make money in your sleep, and you don't have to work so hard for your money because your money is working for you. And that's the position you want to be with your business, is the fact that your business is working for you because it's making money, is replicating money. And it doesn't need you to replicate those things. You just can collect a check.
I know, man. It sounds so good. It's like the perfect dream. But then I talk to all these business owners, and they make these big, massive businesses, and then they have to run the business. They're like, this was a dream, and now I'm just burnt out. I'm running on fumes. They're scared to find someone. What I always have to tell them is it's not how, it's who. So you have to find out who can step into that place. And there's always it's always their baby, though. They're so attached to it. They can't quite they can't think of themselves even. They have this identity problem with no, this is my business. I have to run every single thing. And then they just burn out and they run out. And obviously we all want a business that just magically is making us some money.
Right. We all want to make money. Let's be honest. We all want to make money. We all want to eat. Yeah. We all want to live comfortably. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right. And that's the American dream. Right. Yeah. But that's the part of being, people cross over. They feel to cross over from being self-employed to being a business owner.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you look at it as being self-employed, this is my baby. I got to manage it. You ever had one of those NCOs that micromanage everything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were the worst, weren't they?
NCOs, lieutenants, everybody. Man, we had a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of them.
Correct. Right? And I was one of those guys, like, I couldn't stand that. It got on my nerves, right? To have an NCO, I just show up and he's micromanaging, stand over my shoulder. And I look and he's like, why are you there, man? You know? And like, don't you have a life?
Yeah, man. Let's do
Don't you
our
have a
thing.
meeting to go to or something, you know? And, and you know, and that's the business owner, right? That's the self-employment, because they're sitting there micromanaging everything, right? Then they burn themselves out and they wear themselves out, just like that NCO who was frustrated because the NCO that micromanages is one who's always angry, always afraid the job ain't gonna get done right, you know. And then you had the different type of NCO who was like, you know what, these are your tasks for the day, go make it happen. Ask questions if you need help.
Yeah, or he would
Right.
empower the people to take care of their job instead of, you know, getting micromanaged and freaking out. And then nobody knows actually what to do. They just know how to keep that one guy from getting mad at them.
Correct. Compared to when you empower and to keep them having to, you know, have to beat their face or something, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you want to avoid doing push-ups? All right, come on.
Yeah. I love it, man.
Yeah, but then you look at the business guy, right? We got that. Let's look at the other leader, right? The guy that teaches those things, right? He said, hey, look, this is what needs to be done. I'm going to trust you to get it done. If you need any help, just let me know, right?
Yeah.
That's how you run your business, right? You empower people to exceed and to excel. And again, because it's all about building relationships. It's all about those relationships, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest thing you do in business, from what I've learned, is build relationships. You know, talk to people. And because relationships establish the success of your business. The more people get comfortable with you and your brand and who you are, and the more they like what you're saying, the more they like you, the more people extend help that you need, right? And sometimes, especially entrepreneurs, that's what we need, because we're going on faith, right?
Yeah.
And we're trusting in something that we don't see. We have a vision in our head, but we don't have a tangible product yet, right? Just like I use my book, for example, right? I said, I have an idea. I wrote this poem and I said, you know what? That's all I have is just one poem, but I don't have a whole book yet. I don't have a whole topic. I don't have a whole subject. So I had to put all that together as a vision in my head, then play it out, right? But then, like I said, you have to empower other people too, right? So then you have to realize, well, how can I empower others? I said, well, let me empower others. Okay, well, let's put on Amazon, right? This is a business side, right? Let's look at Amazon. Amazon is round the clock business. So I said, that way I don't have to monitor everything all day, every day.
Yeah.
Right?
I call it
I don't have to monitor the sales all day, every day. It's there on that platform. They have a platform. So let me empower Amazon to help me out, right?
Yeah.
Then you look at it and you say, well, what else can I do? What else can I do? And you start thinking, and I start thinking, and you start realizing, how else can I help people? So then I even say, now it's COVID, and I go to some people and say, hey, look, people say I'm struggling for money. I said, well, you know what? Here's my book. It's doing well. And I've met some people and I said, well, you know what? I'll give you a couple of copies on consignment. Don't cost you anything. And if you can sell it, go ahead on. Right. Yeah. So now I'm creating economical opportunities for people that I know who can use those economical opportunities. So it's getting, like I said, it's still getting the message out there, but at the same time, I'm empowering somebody else to earn earn some money as well. So the thing is being an entrepreneur overall is you want to be a solution bringer. You want to think of, that's what we do is solutions. How does your business create solutions? And to have a business, especially like in time like COVID-19, that's a great time to have a business, because now you can use that as a platform to help people. If people look at it from this, if you look at a business not just as a machine to make money, but as a platform to help others, now your business can grow and it can be successful because people see that business as one that empowers the community. And like I said, we all want to be around business, that helps, the community. That's why, big businesses invest so much in PR, right?
Yeah.
And they show, look what we're doing in the community, so that way you can invest in us.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one thing a lot of small business owners that I've met throughout the way have failed to realize is, how does your business serve the community? And if you can scale your business to help the community as a business owner, then, because now you're empowering the community, just like you empower your employees. And this is a system that empowers people as your business, and that's where I realized a lot of people get so focused on power, right? Because I have the power to make decisions, instead of saying I have the power to empower.
Yeah, man, you just blew my mind. I can't lie. You just dropped some gold nuggets right there. I call it partner or perish. That's kind of my thing. And 2021, man, my main mission is just to collaborate. That's what we're doing right here. So I think there's power and synergy. But I mean, I love what you just said, because, I make a lot of businesses, but it does take that moment to think, man, if I make this business completely work, I can help all these other people make money too, feed their families, take care of the community. That is very inspiring, I think, to anybody out there, because now I'm like, well, fuck, if I don't make this work, they're not going to feed their families, man. I got to get back on the ball, get back on the grind, go make this happen.
That's right. But then you got to look at it like this too, because your business has a mission, right? Because, you want to have a mission statement. What is your mission statement? And is your mission statement an actual mission?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Ooh.
Because if your business statement is an actual mission, then, like I said, we are empowering people. And that's the whole purpose of employment, is to empower people, right? You don't want to just say, oh, I'm your boss. I just tell you what to do.
I'm your boss. Yeah, exactly.
That's not a comfortable environment. That's not cool. Everybody's going to quit, and no one wants to work for you or be around you. Like, man, this dude just want to tell people what to do and be rude. You're like, no one likes you.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you got the other guy that says, he's nice and like, yeah, great job and bonuses and stuff like that, right? Perfect example. I remember I lived in Houston, and there was one company for Christmas. They gave every single employee a bonus of $100,000. Every employee, from the secretary all the way up.
Yeah.
So they made more money than anticipated, instead of just, spending all this money on a whole bunch of different equipment and stuff. They spent the money on their employees. They empowered
work
employees.
there,
Why?
man.
They'll be better employees when, you go to college. A lot of people have $100,000 in student loan debts. Well, you just give them $100,000. They paid off their student loans, right?
Yeah, man.
I
wish I could.
They're
give
gonna work
everybody
harder for you. They're gonna really love that company because you empowered them financial freedom.
Oh,
right?
for sure. I want to go work for them now too.
I want to be in that position to do that.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's awesome.
I want to be the guy that does that.
Yeah. Oh, so true.
And that's that's the thing, right? And so, because when you look at business, you just, like I said, so many people look at it as it's just a money machine, and it's not. It's not. Yeah. When you look at money, that should be the last thing a lot of people say money should be the first thing you look at. That's only if you're investing into a business, right? That's one of the things you look at. Because even if you watch, let's say, you do a business pitch, or let's say you watch even Shark Tank, right?
Yeah.
The first thing they do is they pitch the business. This is what the business is about. This is what it is. Then they say, okay, what's the business worth? See, because what they're figuring out is, this is your system to help people. How successful is that system? And you measure that system from your sales and your revenue, right? Yeah. A lot of people consider, and what I've seen is some people say, well, they've done a round of investing, right? And they got all this investor dollars, and they say, man, we're successful. And it's like, no, you haven't improved your system. You've proven that you can talk to a couple of people to put some money into the actual system, but it doesn't show the success of the system until you start getting sales and revenues, right? Because that determines if people believe in your system, and your system is flawed here or there, and you determine how to fix the flaws, because that money is going to be your incentive to fix those flaws, right? A bad customer review would definitely change.
Yeah, for sure.
The way you do things.
Nobody likes your product. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, money's just the fuel kind of for your business.
Correct. It's a tool, right?
Yeah.
The money, I tell people all the time. I say money is used for two things. It's a resource, or it's because it's used as a resource, right? Or it's influence.
Yeah.
Because you use it as a resource to get things done, or you use it to influence people to do things for you. Mm-hmm. That's what money is, right? Yeah, I use it I hire employees. I use my pay. I use the money to influence them to come work for me. It's an influencing factor, right? And at the same time, I use it as a source I use it as a source as well as to purchase tools that I need, equipment that I need, things of that nature. Now it's a resource, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about managing that and managing the people. But like I said, man, as far as a business, you want to make sure your business is, the first thing you want to make sure is you're solution oriented. When you take on a business, you want to make sure is, what solutions can I bring to the table? Yeah. And what solutions does my business bring to the table? Right? Because if there's no solutions, your business is going to struggle making money because why? Who are you helping?
Yeah.
Who is your audience? Who are you marketing to?
Right.
So you need to know these things for your business to grow because again, who is your marketing? Who are you catering to?
Mm-hmm.
What age group? What demographics? Where do they live?
Yeah.
What are their spending habits? Right? If you don't know these things, how can you get that there to them?
Right.
Right.
My biggest epiphany was lately. I was working with this company, and they were like, "Well, this is our sales plan, and it works every now and then." And what I had the epiphany was, no, let's not necessarily like focus on this. Let's flip the tables and ask the customer, what is the customer's buying plan? Like, if they're going to buy from you, like how can we make it a better fluid sales for them? Like, how can we basically put it in a way that whenever they're ready to buy, that's how they're going to buy it. Like, they get paid on Friday. So every Friday we should be doing marketing to this group instead of us always trying to shove people through our funnel, flip it on its head and ask, how is this customer actually going to be buying from us? And that was a big breakthrough that I had recently, just to look at all purchasing and all customer stuff from the customer's point of view instead of the company's point of view. You'll go so much further. You'll tailor your product so much better for them. And it's just a cool way to do it.
All right. And that's right. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Because who's the one spending their money? The customer.
Yeah.
Right. And the customer saying, if the customer said, man, I love your system. And that's like, for perfect examples, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Right. I seen one lady, she went through the Chick-fil-A line, like, man, Chick-fil-A, that drive-through is so great. I love their service. I literally ordered my food 2 minutes ago and it's warm. I got my food.
It'll make me hungry now, man. Yeah.
That's funny. Don't worry, I'm hungry too. My stomach just growled.
Oh man,
I'm surprised you didn't hear it, but
very good, dude.
But overall, it's about. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I actually said I got another thing in a few minutes, so I just want to say, man, you've just been a real blessing to come on the show. You've taken me for a roller coaster, made me think about all kinds of crazy things. I think everybody listening got just a ton of value from you. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming, and thanks everybody for listening. Yeah, I think you told everybody, definitely go check out your book, and just check out Cornelius on the Facebook and on the internet, man. He's an awesome guy. So, yeah, sorry to wrap it up, but I think that's all the time we got. And thanks for coming on, though, man.
Oh yes, definitely. Thank you for having me. Anytime. Look forward to doing it again, even.
Yeah,
and having this conversation. And I appreciate your audience again investing in me. I appreciate you investing in hearing what I have to say. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Words can't explain how much I appreciate people investing in me.
Yeah, man, so. You're incredible. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Again, this is Cornelius Maxwell, awesome guy. Definitely go buy his book. What was the title again? Unapologetically
I'm a Man.
Unapologetically, I'm a Man. It's on Amazon. It's everywhere. Go do it right now. Take care, everybody. Bye.
All right.